But from my side of the story, I don't remember that night, but I do remember waking up 2 months later in the hospital, having gone through an accident that almost took my life. So drinking and driving, especially when you're young, it's really, it's just like I said to myself so many times, like, it's okay. You know, come on, I do it so often. Why this time? Well, and when you wake up in a hospital bed 2 months later with your family by your side, and not remembering who you are, and having a lot of injuries and stuff, then you suddenly realize, like, okay, it can happen to anybody at any time.
Hello everyone, Amada is here, and today I have a very special guest, Gregg. You came to Taiwan first time in 2005, right?
Yep, the beginning of 2005.
How did you come up with the idea to come to Taiwan?
The one thing I always wanted to do was leave the country, leave South Africa. One of my mother's friend's daughters was teaching English in Asia.
Okay.
And so I thought, okay, actually that sounds good, because I sort of studied to be a teacher. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And so I went online and I typed in teach English in Asia. Mm-hmm. And the first company that popped up was from Taiwan.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, Taiwan, Thailand, same place to me, right? I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty good. 2 months later, I had an online interview.
Oh.
And literally 4 months later, I was on the plane to Taiwan.
So what did you know before you come to Taiwan?
Absolutely nothing, to be honest. I actually, again, to be honest, I thought Thailand and Taiwan was the same place. In my head, I had this vision of where I was going. But when I got here, it was obviously a bit more different to what I thought it would be. I thought I was going to be on the beach.
Like in a Leonardo DiCaprio movie.
Yeah, exactly. And all of that. But, you know, I got to Taipei, big city, beautiful city. And I got put into Kaohsiung, which has become my home.
How was your start? Like first years here, did you like it?
Oh, yeah. For sure. I taught for the company that I got hired for 3 years in Kaohsiung. I was moved to Kaohsiung, and I just fell in love with it so much. I then got offered a job as a PR manager at one of the nightclubs, and I was asked if I could take over the position of managing it.
Wow.
And I was like, oh yes, please.
Dream job.
Yeah. And then I got a phone call from the Brass Monkeys. It's quite a big bar or entertainment company in Taipei, and they offered me an interview for the job of general manager there, because the boss of that place worked with me at the last place in Kaohsiung. Mm-hmm. So I went there and I had the interview, and a few weeks later I got a phone call saying, you got the job.
Oh.
And I was over the moon, and I just messaged. In those days Facebook wasn't that big, but you could sort of online message people, and I just said, hey guys, I need to celebrate, you know, I'm moving to Taipei, and we went out and watched the rugby game, went out and had a party and stuff, and at 5 o'clock on Sunday morning I was like, okay, time to go home. Mm-hmm. I remember, well, I don't remember anything, but people have told me that my friends were trying to take my keys away from me because I was hammered. But I refused. I was like, come on man, we do it all the time. Drive home, we do all the time. It becomes second nature, really. At that stage, a lot of foreigners and a lot of people were doing that, just driving home.
If you're young, you think.
Yeah, and you're young, you don't think. Actually, I've heard stories that I gave like 2 people lifts home on my bike. Like we just
3 of you.
Yeah, 3 of us on the bike. But from my side of the story, I don't remember that night, but I do remember waking up 2 months later in the hospital, having gone through an accident that almost took my life. So drinking and driving, especially when you're young, it's really, it's just like I said to myself so many times, like, it's okay. You know, come on, I do it so often. Why this time? Well, and when you wake up in a hospital bed 2 months later with your family by your side, and not remembering who you are, and having a lot of injuries and stuff, then you suddenly realize, like, okay, it can happen to anybody at any time.
That was the sad part of the story, but in the end, we are here many years later, right? It's 10 years later, 11 years later?
Yeah, it will be 11th year now. And I just want to say quickly, sad in the sense that I stupidly drank and drove and put myself into danger, but more importantly, put other people into danger. But to me, this accident was a gift. I lost my eye, but I gained a greater vision in life. So to me, this is a gift that was given to me on that day.
Yes, and sometimes the horrible thing, there's always some positive side of that.
Yes, definitely. I'm just so lucky I can share and spend time meeting people and helping people and inspiring people to do the same thing, right?
Yes, so the most beautiful thing actually came out from this is the Hackstrong, that your last name is Hackstone, so Hacks like becoming strong together.
Hackstrong, yes.
So you found this organization, right?
Yes. Well, people will say that I found it, but I couldn't have found it because I was in the coma, right? So my friends and actually that's another thing beautiful about Taiwan. A large portion of the community, just the Taiwan Kaohsiung community, came together, and my close friends named this charity Hackstrong because Hacks needs to get strong. And not only did it help me financially, but it also, my parents were flown in from South Africa and my brothers were flown in from South Africa, and they don't know Chinese, they can't read Chinese, they don't understand the culture and stuff, and people were just helping them and just helping them through this hard time while I was in the coma. And if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the Hackstrong creation, I don't know what my family would have done. I don't know how they would have made it through this hard time.
After you become like better and healthier, you start helping other people, right?
Yeah.
Like with this whole thing that started back in the day, it became bigger and bigger. And
well, yeah, that was the whole thing. Like obviously, like I told you, I had the brain damage, which is the frontal lobe of the head, which is your personality, right? And so like I said, like if you came up to me like, hey Hack, how's it going? I would be like, okay, I know you are Mehdi, but I'll be like, hey man, I didn't have any way of interacting with you because I didn't really know how to be myself, right? So I decided then, after being awake for about 20 days, I decided, okay, I need to get back to South Africa, back to my mommy and my daddy, because they're not going to judge me. I can be myself, and nobody's going to be pointing fingers, right? So I left back to South Africa. Also, I had to rehab my legs and my brain and everything, right? So I decided to do that in South Africa. And while I was in South Africa, I was seeing a psychiatrist twice a week, which was the best time for me, because when you go through an accident like I did, you can't walk. Yeah, you're not allowed to drive, obviously, because you don't have the movement of your legs. You have the brain damage. You can't do anything really. I'm just so grateful that I still have one eye, so I could watch TV every day. That's what I would do, because people live their normal lives, right? So they will get up and go and work, and I'll just stay at the house and do nothing. So when I had the opportunity to get out of the house and go to the psychiatrist and talk, those were the best days for me. And about 7 months into that, one of the psychiatrists made a breakthrough with me. I remember sitting down, and she said, okay, Greg, let me ask you a question. Let me start you off with this question. Do you think that your problems are mental or physical? And I said, that's kind of a silly question. Obviously it's mental. I'm sitting here telling you I want to be Greg, but I don't know how to be Greg, and I'm hiding away because I don't know how to be myself. So she says, so you think it's a mental problem? I was like, yes, of course. So she said, see, that's where you're wrong, Greg. It's a physical problem. And I couldn't understand this. I was like, what do you mean it's a physical problem? She said, okay, so let's say you broke your arm in the accident. I was like, yeah, okay. She says, what happens then? Okay, well, they will put your arm into a cast, and then you keep it for about 6 weeks in the cast until your arm gets strong, and then they take the cast off, and then your arm moves again, your arm's fine again. But it's a little bit weak, obviously, but but it gets stronger and gets normal again. So I was like, yeah. She said, well, you didn't break your arm, Greg, you broke your head. You broke a bit of your brain, right? You injured your brain, damaged your brain. and that takes at least 3 years to get right. And it was that day that hope came back into my body, because I was like, so you're saying this is going to be fine in a few years' time? So you're saying this is like
temporarily?
This is a damage to my brain, and my brain's trying to get better. And she's like, yeah, like normally about 3 years, your brain will reconnect and everything will be fine. And I remember going back home and just saying to my brother in the car, I was like, oh man, I'm going to be better sometime,
Yeah.
And he's like, of course you are, man. And I was like, from that day, that was the start of my mission, and that was my passion, and my mission was to get back to Taiwan, because I really missed the life in Taiwan.
Yeah.
But now I had a mission and a passion to go back and help people that go through similar situations, not similar, go through hard times in Taiwan. Because I'm such a social person and such an outgoing person, there are also people there that are quiet, and they're to themselves, right?
Yeah.
What happens? How do people help them if they need help?
Yeah.
We do. Hackstrong does.
Yeah.
So we're going to be that platform for the people that need the help. We are their family away from their family, right? And that's what brought me back to Taiwan at that stage, was to continue the name of Hackstrong. Yeah. We'll tell people, I'm from South Africa. The first thing they're going to say is,
No, you're not.
no, you can't. No, there's no ways you're from South Africa. I was like, what? No, you're not black. When I first heard this, I was like, what? And I would have a good laugh. I'd be like, no, like in South Africa, there are lots of black people and lots of white people, and actually, like, it's actually very diverse in South Africa.
Do you have like any favorite food in Taiwan?
My favorite food, well, actually, just the bien done. Like, I love just to get the rice and the ji tui, the chicken bien done. I've sort of got obsessed with that over the years. It's so good. I need to tell you one story, just a quick story.
Yeah.
I was running at Wei Ing because that's pretty close to my house, and I do that quite often. And the one time I was coming home from work, and I stopped my bike, and I thought, okay, cool, I'm in my running clothes. Let me just hit like 5-6 Ks. And I got back, and there was this old man sitting on my bike. So anyway, I walked up to him, and he just put my wallet in my hand. He was trying to tell me that when I ran off, I hadn't taken my wallet off the seat.
Oh.
So for 6 kilometers, which was about 50 minutes, he had sat on the bike waiting for whoever to return to give the wallet back.
Wow.
And I was just like, only in
so
Taiwan, man,
sweet.
only in Taiwan. It was incredible.
In Taiwan, but it's very amazing. Like, people really, they get into your shoes. If the same situation happens to me, how would I feel? I mean, they don't have to do it. Living in Taiwan, it's like you become like part of the bigger family.
Yes.
And you come back and go to other countries, and it's not going to happen. From your life experience and your story in Taiwan and abroad, so what would you like to say shortly to people?
I think, like I mentioned while I was talking, a lot to do with what you want to do in life gets stopped by yourself, right? And it's never too old, never too late, I should say, to try what you want to do what you want to do, to be what you want to be, to see what you want to see. And the secret to that is to wake up, be awesome, and go to sleep. Yeah. And when I say be awesome, just be you. Be yourself. Do the things you want to do. Be the person you want to be. It's really good that you mentioned, to put yourselves into other people's shoes, because act towards other people that you want them to act towards you. And if you can just put your mentality and your thoughts into that direction, life will just get bigger and bigger and wider for you, and happier for you. And the more happy you are, the more awesome you are, and the better you sleep at night.
That's a beautiful ending. We like it. Thank you very much for having you here.
Well, thank you. Can I say?
Yeah, we can.
No.